Welcome back to FM Story. We've made it into the second half of the season. We are currently third in the table. We're looking to try and put some pressure on Real Madrid and Barcelona. We've also made it through to the knockout phase of the Champions League, so let's see how we get on. Before we get started, if you do enjoy the video, please like, comment and subscribe. And without further ado, let's get going. February's been a bit of an eventful month for us. We've got a game coming up just at the end of February here in the Champions League against Betis. It's the second leg. I'm not going to lie, the draw was a bit of a kicker because we've struggled against Betis. I mean, we got hammered by them earlier on in the season. So we started the month by somehow losing 3-2 to Espanyol, who were bottom of the table. We were 2-0 up at half-time and then just disintegrated in the second half. Really, truly abysmal performance. We then had a run of Copa del Rey games. So we started in the fourth round against Levante, a game really we should have lost. We were 1-0 up, they equalised just before the hour, but we really didn't look like scoring. They had a couple of decent chances, and then we ended up scoring in the 93rd minute to sneak it before it went to extra time. We followed that up with a more convincing performance against Valencia. We were 1-0 down pretty quickly. But Villalba completed his hat-trick within the first 20 minutes of the game, and then Valencia had no real answer, and we kind of easily sort of saw out the rest of the game. That got us through to the semi-finals against Getafe, and we won the first leg 3-0. Again, 3 goals early on. Villalba missed a penalty, so it could have been 4-0, and we just sort of managed the game out in the second half. Then we played Burgos in the league, and disintegrated like we did against Espanyol. I mean, we were 3-0 up at half-time, and then we were hanging on at the end to hang on to that 3-2 victory. Second half just wasn't any good at all. Then we had the first leg of the knockout against Betis. First half was really dull. No highlight, I don't think. I think it just rolled straight through to half-time. And then Nico Williams in particular put in a performance in the second half. As I said before, we got hammered 3-0 by Betis towards the beginning of the season. Nico Williams in the second half put on a performance, and we managed to come out 4-0 victors, giving us a good platform for this second leg that's coming up shortly. And then our most recent game was a 3-1 victory against Atletico Madrid. We were pretty comfortably 2-0 ahead. Angelino scored a screamer from 25 yards for Atletico Madrid to bring them back into the game, but then we nicked a goal before full time just to make it a bit more comfortable, so we could see the game out with a victory. It means we're currently sat third in the table. We are 9 points clear of Villarreal in fourth, but they've played a game more than us. And if you look at the player stats, Villabra's top goal scorer again. Iker Muniain's got the highest average rating and the most assists in the league this season. Going into this second leg, we've got everyone available, so we're going in with what would be our full strength team. We've opted for Odriozola at right back. Still, him and Kappa, neither one of them have definitively sort of made the position their own. Borja Iglesias is one we need to watch out for in the Betis team because he always seems to give us a bit of a problem. So they're going with the 4-4-2. Hopefully that sort of extra body with Muniain floating behind the front man can do us some good in the midfield. Now, that is not good at all. Less than 4 minutes on the clock and Inigo Martinez is having to go off injured. We brought John Pacheco on to replace him. Hopefully this 4-0 advantage is going to be good enough to hold. Javi Lopez, Nico Williams, Sunset. Now they're going to break. Oh, we've nicked it back. Inaki Williams. Muniain. Decent save by Hugo Lloris. Right, Inaki Williams. Muniain's got the ball, but they've intercepted it. Vivian sweeping up at the back there. Javi Lopez going round the outside on the left-hand side. Venkador to Nico Williams. And Muniain's lashed it home. 5-0 on aggregate. If we manage to somehow go out to Betis here, then this will be a calamity of all calamities. It's a lovely ball over the top to Nico Williams. Takes his time, picks out Muniain, who smashes it across. Lloris into the far corner. I mean, looking at their stats, they don't look like a team that's desperately trying to get back into the game. And we'll take that 1-0 at half-time, 5-0 on aggregate, especially considering one of our only decent centre-halves got injured in the first couple of minutes. Now we just need to push on and make sure that we don't do anything stupid in the second half. Kerem off the bar. Really not an awful lot happening in the second half. I think they've just conceded that they're not going to get back into the game. Having said that, they've just scored. Is that offside? No. I mean, he couldn't have been left with an easier tap in. And that's game over, and we move on to the next round. We've now made it towards the end of March, and it's safe to say we've not had the best of runs in the league. As you can see, we're currently sat in third place still, but we're now only 2 points ahead of Villarreal. We have played 2 games less than them, but we've not had the greatest run. So after the last game against Betis, the second leg of the Champions League game, we started with a 3-3 draw. We started with a 3-3 draw against Valencia. We threw it away. I mean, we were 2-1 and 3-2 up, and then they got a goal, and we just didn't have enough to get a winner. We were then drawn against Milan in the last 16 of the Champions League, and somehow we managed to... So we played Celta next in the league, and we drew that one as well. We took the lead and threw it away in the second half, which is a bit of a pattern in how our defeats have certainly run. And then the next league game was against Barcelona, and we got hammered. Basically, we weren't at the races. They were 2-0 up at half-time. We pulled one back, but they were too strong, and we just didn't perform on the night. So in the league, as we said before, we're currently sat in third. We've got 2 games in hand on Villarreal, but we're only 2 points ahead of them. Villalba is still top scorer, and Ike Muniain still got the most assists. We played the second leg of the Copa del Rey semi-final against Getafe. We had a player sent off early on, and the Kappa for a ridiculous tackle. But they scored too late. They took advantage of that too late, and then we actually nicked an equaliser towards the end anyway. So we went through 4-1 on aggregate, and we'll play Barcelona in the final in the middle of April. And then in the last 16 of the Champions League, we were drawn against Milan. I thought we'd lost our chance in the home leg, but Villalba popped up with an injury time winner for us. We kept a clean sheet as well. The second leg was more impressive. We nicked a 1-0 win at the San Siro, but we did it with both of our first choice centre halves missing. Vivian was suspended, and Inigo Martinez was still injured. So somehow we managed to keep 2 clean sheets against Milan, and our reward for that is a quarter-final tie against Man City. So that's probably where the run is going to end, but we can dream. We did play them earlier on in the league phase. We lost 1-0. We weren't at the races at all, but we lost to a screamer of a goal. So going into this game against Girona, Villarreal have actually overtaken us because they've played another game. So they're a point ahead of us, with us having 3 games in hand on them. And actually we've got 4 games in hand on Sevilla, who are 6 points behind us. So the Champions League places look fairly safe. It's just a question of whether we can get back ahead of Villarreal to finish third. I think we're probably too far behind Barcelona and Real Madrid now to seriously consider any kind of push for the title. As you can see, Girona are bottom of the table. And bearing in mind that we lost to Espanyol earlier on in the season, who were bottom of the table at the time, there's a chance that this doesn't go particularly well for us. Going into the game, we've got our first choice team available. Inigo Martinez is back from injury, but probably can only play about an hour, 75 minutes. So we'll give him the start just to build him back up, just so we've got someone back for, hopefully, so he's back for the Champions League game and the Cup final. We really need to get off to a good start at home against the team that are bottom of the table, just to end that kind of mini slump in the league. Vivian, Sunset. Well, there's Venkador. Nico Williams is through. Keeper makes a great save. Did the keeper save that on the line as well? That looked like a great double save. Yeah, he must have done. We forced them back to the halfway line. Why didn't you just let that go for a goal kick, Harvey? Especially, and then why did you just stand on the ball? Inigo Martinez, Javi Lopez, Venkador. Sunset to Odriozola in acres of space to Inaki Williams. Crosses, Valabra scores. Just what we needed. Hopefully that can open the floodgates against a team that are bottom of the table. It's a lovely ball from the centre out to the right. Odriozola forward to Inaki Williams. Just fires that low cross in. And Valabra's there just to tap it home. Muniain with the corner. They've cleared to Inaki Williams, Venkador, Muniain. Lovely finish that. Bent it in the far corner. 2-0 up. So they didn't put any pressure really on Venkador. He was able to pick out that pass to Muniain. No one had stayed wide and he cut in and bent it into the corner. Muniain with the free kick. Valabras picked it up. Martinez. Sunset. Vivian out on the outside. Oh, and that's it. 2-0 at half time. Comfortable so far. We probably could have had another couple. But the keeper made a couple of decent saves. Now we just need to press on in the second half. Right, we've headed it back to Simon. Out to Javi Lopez. Venkador. Sunset. Nico Williams. Venkador to Inaki Williams. Inaki Williams does brilliantly there to keep that ball alive. It looked like Venkador had overhit it, but he volleyed it on the up. Does well to get his foot around and get it back across goal. And Valabra heads it in off the post. Surely we're not going to collapse again. It's a good ball to the back post, but far too easily won the header. And we had five players in the goalkeeper stand in the 6-yard box. Vivian to Inaki Williams. Looked for Valabra, but it's been cleared as far as Javi Lopez. Nico Williams, Muniain, and that's his second as well. 4-1. Hopefully that's the end of any chance of them coming back. Hopefully we can just shut up shop a bit and keep them quiet for the rest of the game. Nico Williams does brilliantly when he gets the byline just to stop, pick out Muniain. Keeper probably should have done better, but that's full time. 4-1. Decent performance and just what we needed to arrest that slide of poor results we'd had in the league. Now it's time for the youth intake for this season. It's still down as a 5-star excellent intake. I don't think it looks as promising as last season. It looks like we've got one centre back that looks promising, 2 central midfielders, an attacking midfielder and a striker, potentially an okayish goalkeeper, but that's about it. So here is our youth intake. Where's the centre half? Well, I suppose it's that one that's left back. It looks like he's more of a centre half than our left back. So we've got the 4 elite talents and a couple of top talents by the looks of things. So we've got Montero, the left back. We've got Pascual, the centre midfielder. Ribeiro, the advanced forward. Attacking midfielder. It looks like the other centre midfielder that's supposed to be good one's one of the top talents. So Montero, like technically, looks great. Mentally looks great as well. he is down as a centre-back as his description. So mental's great, but the physicals and the height are a bit of a concern about the centre-half. I mean, he could turn into a really good left-back looking at some of that stuff, like the crossing. Some of the technicals certainly sort of lend themselves to being a full-back. The mentals sort of definitely sort of lend themselves to being centre-half. The physicals just really aren't there at the moment. But he is only 15, so... And then we've got Pascual, centre midfielder. Possibly the deep line playmaker role that we would use. The passing's a bit of a concern, but he's got some really good mentals again, particularly the decision making and the physicals. And he's also 6'3" as well at 15. So you think he might develop into a decent player in the air, but the technical skills potentially let him down. So we've got Unai Ribeiro, who looks a decent all-round player. He's 6'1" as well, so that's pretty decent for a forward to lead the line. Some good mentals, some decent physicals. Just needs to become more of a finisher. Attacking midfielder, Unai San Martin, like really sort of decent all round here. Like that 16 flair stands out. The technique, the passing, the long shots. I think he could really develop into a decent player. So now on to the elite talents. So Ochoa, the goalkeeper, like really good mentals again, like the determination and teamwork. I mean, 5'10" for a goalkeeper is a bit of a red flag, but again, he's only 15. And it already looks like he's going to develop into a better goalkeeper, or he's predicted that his potential is a bit better than the one we got last season. But still some way off Unai Simon. And then the other central midfielder, Inaki Zabala. I mean, he's not of the same level as the other central midfielder. Yeah, I think he's going to probably not be on the same level. And I don't know whether he's going to end up being good enough for us at any point. But obviously it depends how he develops. And that's the end of this episode. Join us next time to see if we can continue our run in the Champions League when we face Man City in the quarterfinal. See if we can somehow beat Barcelona to win the Copa del Rey, and see if we can get back on form in the league. See you then.